The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's September the 2nd, 2024. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined once again by our so happy managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And the news of the day for many, many days is going to be the performance that the Miami Hurricanes put forth up in Gainesville, a performance that was thorough, a performance that was dominant, a performance that, quite frankly, I can't imagine Matt Shodell finding any way to poke holes in. Miami just overwhelmed the Florida Gators, and Matt, it was quite a day up there at the Swamp. It was like somebody decided they were going to film the U Part 4 and unleashed the old school Miami Hurricanes on the crowd in Gainesville, the football staff in Gainesville. I mean, I saw some crazy stuff up there Saturday. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, Mario Cristobal doing these crazy gator chops, and the players doing gator chops during the game and taunting, and it went so far that after the game, Miami players went to the recruiting section, and there were Florida recruiting staffers trying to swat them away from interacting with their recruits. I've never, in my 40 plus years of covering the Miami Hurricanes in college football, ever seen anything like that. And it was a party for a good 5-10 minutes in the corner by the Miami locker room. All the fans gathered there. They were chanting Mario, Mario. It was a festival of happiness. It was just unbelievable. So great to see, Matt. And this is how you want to start a season, no doubt about it. And to me, the biggest challenge that Miami has coming out of that game is to put it in their past, because they must. It's like they looked pretty good against Texas A&M last year too. It wasn't quite the same, but we know what happened last season. These seasons can turn on a dime, with different things that can happen over the course of a long season. They need to put it in the past. They need to keep focusing on getting better, because the one thing that was obvious coming out of Gainesville, Matt, is the potential that this team has this season to really be special as the year goes on.
And Miami was the champions of week 1. Can we just end the season now, please? I'm just ready to call it a season. I mean, do we have to keep playing games? Miami's the best team in the country. I mean, let's face it. It was honestly, I think, the most complete win I've seen from Miami team since 2002. I mean,
I agree.
They haven't had quarterback.
I couldn't remember a different year.
Well, you can't remember last week, but for someone remember things like me, I'd say 2002.
It was just so dominant.
I can't ever remember. I remember when I grew up, believe it or not, an Eagles fan. I grew up in New York. I found New York fans so annoying as a kid. I decided to root for the team that was winning back then in the early 80s, which was, the Eagles, the Sixers, the Flyers. They were all really good, the Phillies. So I picked Philadelphia. I didn't know their fans were even more annoying at that point than New York fans. But where was I just going with this? I don't remember anymore. What were we just talking about? I already forgot. Literally.
You're talking about how it might have been the most dominant win since 2002.
Yeah, I don't even know why I got on this tangent. I haven't got enough sleep. But in general, so Randall Cunningham, that's my point. So when Randall Cunningham came along, it was just opened my eyes to what a quarterback could actually be, because here's this guy who, when he's sacked, he's not even down. He just pops right back up. There's a famous play against the Giants, where he's literally tackled and he just somehow doesn't get tackled and throws a touchdown or whatever, and it was just remarkable. And you just loved watching that guy, even though he had a lot of mistakes. And now you see sort of people in his mold that don't make mistakes, right? That are just unbelievable players with their legs, their arms, everything they do is just spectacular and exciting. Miami's never had that guy. Miami's never had the Randall Cunningham of back in the day on this roster. And now we have Cam Ward.
We've had great quarterbacks, but nothing like this.
Nothing ever like this. No electric playmaking, throw from sidearm angles, throw across your body like you're not supposed to, just do ridiculous things. I think if Mark Fletcher didn't fall down at one point, he would have thrown a shovel pass probably over a defender into Mark Fletcher's hands. He does crazy, remarkable, you lose, you almost can't, you lose, you don't even know what to say. I think the TV broadcaster does like the Bachelorette or something, right? That former UF guy. And I thought he wanted to date Cam Ward on the show at one point. Like he was in love with Cam Ward. I think everybody in Cane Nation's in love with Cam Ward. Like, forget the Golden Bachelorette. Just do the Cane Bachelorette, Bachelor, I guess. He's not a Bachelorette. Sorry, Cam.
It was unbelievable to watch.
Because everyone's in love with this guy. And the only look, and you know me, I'm a realist, right? It was game one. I get it. But Virginia Tech looks like they suck. Clemson, we don't play them, but they are not at a national level, and they haven't been for 2 years. Florida State is nowhere near what they were a year ago. So, like, what's left? Who do we even play? Like Louisville?
See, there's the danger, Matt.
Right. So Miami has to keep a razor sharp edge. And on top of that, Florida was one of the nation's worst defenses last year. So I don't want fans to think that I'm talking down about Miami at all. Miami played the most flawless offensive game. They would have scored in every possession if not for an interception, and just they sort of, they had a couple of things. They missed a yard here, a yard there that, maybe a Jordan Lyle could, in a year from now, cut inside instead of running right into the guy and trying to bowl him over, which in high school he did that, right? You bowl the defenders in front of you, you need a yard, you just bowl him over. Welcome to college football, Jordan Lyle.
Pick up the extra yard.
Welcome to Jordan Lyle. All you do is cut inside and you have the first down. But he's like, oh, it's just like high school. It's kind of funny to see guys try to do that in college. Notwithstanding that, this probably is one of the worst defenses Miami's going to face. I can't imagine any ACC defense being worse than Florida's. Like, you'll see, I broke down some of Cam Ward's film this morning, and like Florida didn't know what the hell was going on. I mean, they weren't near receivers. The beginning of the game, they had no idea Cam Ward could even run. Once he started running, they put a guy to track him in the middle, which they obviously hadn't really practiced much because the guy did nothing. Cam Ward was just throwing the ball all over the field whenever he wanted to, get one-on-one coverage wherever he wants. The pass rush was never getting there. Cam Ward was just looking around the defense like this before each snap, just laughing like, which of you guys is going to try to stop me? I don't think any of you can, Some of it was backyard football, which is so much fun, right? Like that one play where Cam Ward scrambles to the right, and then Isaiah Horton just does the scramble drill. He's on the sideline. He just comes back to the insides wide open, and Cam Ward just flips it to him, for a whatever first down, 16-yard, 19-yard gain, whatever it was. Isaiah Horton, by the way, he should be on the field. Sam Brown, I don't know why, but he was going half speed every time I looked at him. And I don't know why. He's supposed to be the fastest guy out there. I don't get it. He got a horrendous PFF grade that was well-deserved. Isaiah Horton was given every effort, every second effort, every third effort. Isaiah Horton was playing like his life depended on that game. That scramble drill alone shows what Isaiah Horton does on the field, right? He ends his route. Most receivers end their route, they just stand there. He's looking to get back into a soft spot in the zone. He's looking to get open, doing anything he can to help that team. Sam Brown should have had a touchdown on the Restrepo pass. And, that's something I heard Miami was working on that in secret, like for a long time. And I think they, Gary and I were talking about, they probably could have held it for another game, but Mario probably looked at the schedule. He's like, we don't play anybody. Let's just use it now. The game was already over. Let's just use it now. Why not?
Wait a minute. Okay, see, you are to me, this is the danger zone. Okay, we're penciling in 11 victories right now based on what we saw. All right, let's qualify a few things. And again, we are not looking to dampen the feel-good nature of that game. But Florida had no scout, number one. They had never seen Cam Ward in this offense playing for Miami. So they had no idea really what Miami was going to run. They looked at last year and Shannon Dawson and the whole thing, but they really didn't have any idea. And then they especially didn't have any idea when Shannon Dawson comes out of the gate right from the first play and starts throwing all these exotic formations at them that they didn't practice. And they were totally baffled. Like it looked like they did not know what to do because they didn't know what to do. And
last year, Florida was the worst defense in the country for a major program. So, I mean, let's not sugarcoat it like, Shannon Dawson did this amazing job. Cam Ward Damien Martinez, the entire Miami offense outclassed the entire Florida defense. I could have run the ball up the middle every play and had Cam Ward just do backyard football, and we still would have won by 3 touchdowns. Like, I'm not saying Shannon Dawson didn't have a great game plan, but I'm saying
he had a great game plan.
That Florida defense is awful, flat awful.
But I'm not going to diminish one bit what Shannon Dawson.
I'm not saying they have a good game plan, but I mean, everything works against that defense. That defense was nowhere near anybody, and they got no push up front. They were. I think they're worse than last year's defense at Florida, quite honestly. And I said that could be the case because the people they lost, they replaced with like nobodies in the portal.
Listen, they had no idea what Miami was going to do. I mean, and it looked like it. They had no clue. I have never seen.
They were totally unprepared. Honestly, on both sides. Yeah. By the way, Miami's defense was the most impressive thing to me. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I mean, Miami's offense should have done what it did, and they did. To their credit, I mean, they were so well prepared. Cam Ward said he'd never been better prepared for a game in his life. And we've never seen anybody play quarterback like this here. Yeah. I mean, they were breaking the huddle early. They were lining up, and he's just standing back there, kind of hanging out, and he's looking around the field, reading the defense before the snap, clearly making decisions on where the play should go. And I mean, there were times he was doing it for like 10, 15 seconds, I think. I mean, I didn't have a stopwatch on it. I can't remember seeing a quarterback sit back there like so like. Well, that's not even the amazing part. The amazing part is how fast he went through his progressions. You'll see on the video clips this morning, he goes through 3 or 4 progressions in seconds. Like, it's just bam, bam. First one, he realizes, okay, there's one play you look at this morning. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it's Isaiah Horton is lined up on, I guess, the near side at the, just inside, I guess, just inside. I'm just trying to think where he was lined up. Yeah, I guess just inside the line. And then they had Restrepo in the slot. And this is the play where Cam Ward hits Restrepo for the touchdown down the middle. Cam Ward knows he wants to go to Restrepo. But he's got a problem, right? Because the safety's right where Restrepo's route's being run. So what does Cam Ward do? Stares down Isaiah Horton on the left sideline for 2 seconds, 1.5. I timed it, 1.5 seconds. Just stares at Horton until the safety turns his hips and starts going towards Horton, and that just opens up Restrepo. Nobody even near him, and he just immediately darts into Restrepo. Yeah. I mean, the smart play. Just the knowledge base and the fact they had time to throw. I mean, the Miami offensive line was very, very average, even sub-average in run blocking, I thought, and you could see it in the stats. When you take out Cam Ward's rushes, they averaged 3.7 yards per carry. Last year, they averaged 5.1. You could also see it in the Pro Football Focus grades for the run blocking. But the pass protection is the strength of this team. I know Mario wants to run the ball and kill people with the run. And I know Florida does have some size on their defensive line. I get it. But Miami's strength this year is passing the ball. That is obvious, and I hope Mario recognizes that, because if it comes down to some close games against teams that are scoring on Miami's defense, which I think some other teams will do a lot better than Florida did, even though Florida had a lot of weapons. Graham Mertz, we'll talk about this later, but Graham Mertz was totally confused by what Lance Guidry did. Other teams in the ACC that faced Lance Guidry's defense last year, for instance, will not be as confused as Florida was. Florida coaches did a terrible job preparing Graham Mertz for this. They're going
to fire those guys, and I'm telling you,
they should be fired. They should be fired. This is Miami coaches. If Miami came out that unprepared for what they saw on both sides of the ball, I would be saying on this show, the entire staff needs to go. It was embarrassing.
It was
when
embarrassing.
You see Graham Mertz. I mean, literally. We're going. I've been going through some clips already. If we're going to do a third down breakdown of why Florida was 0 for 8 on third downs. And Lance Guidry, to his credit, did different things every single one of those. They were 1 for 9, sorry, but the first 8, they were 0 for 8. They were 1 for 9 on third downs for the game. Those first 8, there was not a single third down where Lance Guidry did something the same, but the concepts were simply the same. There's 5, 6 guys on the line, maybe 1 or 2 with their hands in the dirt, and then 2 guys go backwards into covers like he always does, and the other 4 are coming at you, and there might be a linebacker blitz or a safety blitz to bring 5 in there. And that's all he does. That's what he does. And Graham Mertz, to his last second of falling on his head and having to be resuscitated, by a hamburger in the locker room because he just didn't want to come back out there. Probably. Sorry, Graham. I'm sure you had a concussion. But to the last second, where he could not play anymore because Tyler Barron destroyed his offensive lineman and kept on getting to him, he could not figure out what the hell was going on. And there's a great clip that I'm going to show you guys in tomorrow, I guess, right? I'm going to write this for tomorrow, where literally he thinks he's going to have a wide open guy on like a 3rd and 5 play, right? His slot guys, his tight end. His tight end is running a curl inside, okay? And they have a receiver right behind the tight end who's going to come around him, and the tight end's clearing out space, and the receiver's right there, bam, easy completion, right? You see it all the time in the NFL and college. It works all the time, right? What Graham Mertz didn't realize, and was not coached apparently, is Miami drops its linemen. Not every guy in the line rushes, ever in the Lance Guidry defense. If you see 5 guys at the line of scrimmage, very rarely all 5 come in to rush you, okay? So as it happened, Elijah Alston dropped back into coverage right into the spot where Mertz was going to throw it. Mertz didn't even see it, and luckily for him, the ball went through Alston's hands, but the receiver had no chance to even catch the ball because, Alston was there. There was another guy also dropped back. I think it was, who was it? There was another guy who dropped back. It'll be in the story, whatever. But like, he literally threw right to 2 Miami defenders thinking he had a wide open receiver after the tight end was going to clear out that space. Like, that was a perfect example of how, and this was in the 3rd quarter, of how Graham Mertz had no clue at all about what this defense does. It was like he was just coached how to play against a 4-3 and just do what you did last year, Graham. You'll be fine. I mean, shockingly bad preparation. He just never seemed to understand that Miami drops its linemen into coverage and brings blitzes from safeties and linebackers. Like, shocker, like it was bizarre. And the only time Florida even had success in 3rd downs was twice. Guidry went to zone. Those were the only 2 completions on 3rd downs. One of them was short of the line to gain. They went for it on 4th down and got it. And then on the next play was also zone. Those two plays, back-to-back zone behind what he always does up front. And those were the 2 completions. When they went man-to-man in the defensive backfield and dropped linemen, Mertz was just lost because he had 1, 2, 3, and a guy was on him. And he had not figured out what the hell was going on in defense yet. And that's why you wind up with 120 passing yards for a game.
Yeah, so Dawson comes out with these exotic formations, and he had the Gators on their heels from the get-go. And Cam Ward was zoned in, and obviously everybody was very motivated, and the season just started so perfectly for the Hurricanes, and they were able to obviously carry that through for 4 quarters. But now the challenge begins, because now there is some tape, and Dawson's not going to be able to put in a new offense every week. You're going to start to see some repetition now and formations and things like that. And remember, last year, Miami had a similar type of performance, not this dominant, against Texas A&M when the offense looked really, really good with Tyler Van Dyke, and we were all sitting here celebrating about what was going to be the whole season, and then we know what happened. I don't see that happening now. But the danger zone to me is everybody's just penciling in 11 more victories here in the regular season. And I saw some areas that I feel that they can get much better. I think the running game has an enormous improvement that it can still make. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to really study it, but they were having some problems with their blocking schemes and stuff against the Gator front. They were only picking up, a few yards at a time, kind of playing bully ball. There on some of those running plays with Damian Martinez. They weren't really, we weren't seeing massive holes and things like we didn't have a long gain the entire game in the running game. We will see that get much better. Okay. There is no question about it. The matchups will become more favorable than maybe they were up there yesterday. The line will get used to playing in a game together. Miami will make enormous forward advancement with the running game. And I know Matt's saying that the strength is the passing game. I would say, not to borrow a line from Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. I would withhold judgment for a little bit, because I do think this running game is going to be really, really good. I love Jordan Lyle. I think he's going to have a great season now that they've decided to
I wasn't talking about the, just to be clear, I wasn't talking about the running back's ability level. I'm talking about the offensive line strength.
You like the pass protection and the passing game.
The offensive line seems to be better as pass protectors than run blockers. And when you have Cam Ward, that's why I said that. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
It wasn't a besmirchment of the running back room at all. They're amazing.
Yes, but I think they're going to get better there. The other thing that really struck me was the grades that came back from Pro Football Focus for the defensive backs.
Yeah.
You know, we feel like Miami did such a great job on defense, which they did, but I haven't had time yet to go back and watch this. I will, but they've apparently, according to them, there were coverage holes all over the place.
Yeah, you're going to find it hard to find that on film, Gary. They don't. Unfortunately, the TV cameras don't show the secondary down the field. They just are focused more on the quarterback and the line. Until the ball's in the air.
They were. I was,
PFF has its own film. PFF can see that stuff. So PFF
I was
knows
it live for sure that there were all these guys. I saw a few occasions where guys seemed open that they were missing. But apparently there's a lot of advancement Miami can make in pass coverage as well. Because the grades,
and just for those that didn't see it, I mean, 70 is considered a good grade. Okay, anything below 60s, you didn't play well. And Miami's 3 cornerbacks were all below 60: Damari Brown, Darryl Porter, and OJ Frederique. So they were all in the 50s. Michel Pella was a saving grace. Mish was absolutely amazing in this game. 89.0 cover grade, 89.5% is the overall best defensive player. You could see on tape, again, I went through the film already a little bit. You could see he just was reading plays literally before they were happening. I mean, there's check down throws where he's literally starting to run up from safety before the ball's even out. Like, he recognizes something. They must have run similar plays last year out of these formations. And we all know that Graham Mertz loves to throw check downs and short passes. So I think that was probably on his brain as well. But yeah, again, not to cut you off, Gary, but I love doing that. But this was, again, game 1 against a Florida team that was awful on defense last year, probably is still awful on defense this year. We're not sure if the offense at Florida is any better than what they look like. Last year their offense was decent, in the 40s nationally for total yards, or 50s for scoring offense. Like, not great. They were bad last year as a team, right? They had a losing record. They've had a losing record for 3 years. This is not a great team, but it is an SEC team. It is a real opponent. And the fact that Miami thrashed them is great. But again, heading into this game, Gary, do you remember what I said? What was the most important thing I wanted to see? I wanted to see not the final score, right? What I wanted to see was domination on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and Cam Ward's play obviously was very important as well. And they passed all those to me with flying colors, which is what is so positive for me. People ask, I ran some Hurricane fans yesterday, and they're like, "Oh, are you gonna, did you see the game? Whatever." I'm like, there was a game. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I saw who won, just because I don't like dealing with fans. No, I'm just kidding. But what they asked is, are you going to change your prediction, which is 10-2? And I'm not ready to change my prediction off one game. I know people want to jump to, oh, they're the best team in the ACC. They want to jump to, how can we lose? Like, look how good we looked against Florida. But at the end of the day, like Gary said, we've played Texas A&M before, right? Last year, we saw that happen early in the year. We've killed Notre Dame before. Like, those seasons didn't end great, right? They didn't have 2 or less losses in either of those seasons at the end of the year. So there's still a lot of football to play. And what I hope we're not sitting around saying at the end of the year is the worst thing that could have happened is Miami killed Florida and then had 3 easy games and didn't play until October while everyone else was playing real opponents and getting better, and Miami's playing worse opponents and thinking they're so great. And then, bam, they come up against Louisville all of a sudden, and they're like, we weren't ready for it, I don't know what Mario has to do, besides his ridiculous dances in the locker room and cursing and stamping around. I don't know if that works for a month. If he can do that for a month, great. I'd get tired. But, he needs to find something to keep this program on edge, because you do not want to be your best team in game 1. You do not want to take a slide backwards in game 6, which is really the next meaningful game, assuming Virginia Tech's as bad as it is or looked, in a loss to a really bad SEC team, Vanderbilt, right? So he's got to, that's the biggest task of the immediate future right now, is how do you get through the next 4 games and get to October 5th at Cal, making this team think that we suck and we better get a hell of a lot better before we play Cal or else. Because if this team doesn't have that mentality, and if they're just partying with the Florida recruits, and like high-fiving fans and enjoying the adulation, which these are 20-year-olds, in some case 38-year-olds, but only one of them is 38. They're mostly 20-year-olds. Sorry, Cam McCormick. That's a difficult task. For those of you that have 20-year-old children, I have 2 of them. It's hard enough just to get them to buy a pair of shoes and get a haircut, Good luck getting to focus every second of every day on getting better for the next month, like everyone else in the country is going to be doing after a game like this. I mean,
yeah.
If there's a caveat, it's the secondary. It's the mentality that needs to be in place now. Well, I'm not sure if this culture has taken hold. Fantastic, but it was a short time ago that this culture was not in place, right? What was it? 9 months ago. Okay. So we're going to find out in a month and a half. Not until then, that's when we'll find out, okay, this team really is something. And it's unfortunate. I wish the schedule was harder. I would love to play another tough opponent next week. And I think it's a real disservice by the former athletic director, to schedule these idiotic non-conference opponents that aren't going to get you better. They're just not.
You didn't need 2 of them for sure.
No, your team's going to play a half. You'll stay healthy, but you're playing a half of football for the next 3 weeks probably.
Yeah, we'll see in 3 weeks at South Florida. Yeah, it's a little nuts. I think Mario let them go last night. He loosened the reins a little bit. They
earned it, right?
You earned it. And man, did they take the rope? Okay, we were we say Mario let himself go too. Oh yeah. He let himself go. And
fans love that, by the way. Fans love that,
Yeah, I don't know that the social media staff in the UM athletic department because they didn't get to use the post-game video very, very much, but he was dropping F-bombs all over the place. But it was just, I don't know if it was a release, but last night was a night that Mario was going to let the new Miami, the Mario Miami, be the old Miami, and man, did they take that ball and run with it. But if the grades that the coaches do look anything like the Pro Football Focus grades did, they're going to be able to rein these guys in pretty quickly. Because I was more shocked by the grades, and listen, people give Pro Football Focus different weight. We're not saying they're the ultimate authority. These are pretty knowledgeable football guys that are sitting there in a film room watching every individual play multiple times and giving every player on the field a grade for every play. So it's not an absolute science. There's no absolute sciences in football, but it's just a guideline to go by. And we watched Cam Ward play as well as he did, and we expect him to get a good grade. He got a 90.9 grade from Pro Football Focus, which is unbelievable. You rarely see anything that high. And there was, I'm looking at the offensive grades right now. Cam McCormick graded great, and they gave him 14 plays, which really surprised me. Arroyo went 44 plays. He had a great 80.8 grade. Restrepo was obviously great. Horton was great. Damian Martinez was extremely good.
And by the way, Arroyo gets lost in all this because, Restrepo and Ward and this and that. Arroyo, do not underestimate this guy, man. If he stays healthy, you can tell the difference he can make in an offense like this. He is a difference maker. As Restrepo said about Cam Ward, he is him, which for those of you under 30 know what that means. Gary has no idea what that means.
And that's another thing, Matt. Florida is preparing for this game. They're not even thinking about Arroyo. Miami didn't use the tight end last year. Now all of a sudden you got this number 8 out there making plays like the super freak that he is, and they were totally unprepared for it. And he had a huge night. But now you start going a little further down the list, and you come to Inez Cooper, Ryan Rodriguez. Who guys, come to mind that have a lot of improvements to make. Matthew McCoy. So that's 3 of your rotation offensive linemen whose grades were relatively low because they didn't do a good job of run blocking. So there is enormously enough to work on the offense side of the ball, improving the running game. And like I said, these
grades, they were going against a 460-pounder. What are they supposed to do?
Well,
dude,
I understand.
That guy on Florida was eating a cereal bomb on the bench. Do you know what a cereal bomb is, Ferman? Do you watch South Park? It's a bucket of KFC fried chicken that Cartman just loads up with gravy and Twinkies and just freaking chows down, and he sits on the toilet while he's eating it to clear more room as he's eating it. Okay, that's what Inez Cooper and these interior linemen were going against. So do not besmirch that. Do not besmirch them. They were going against a cereal bomb maniac who weighed 450 pounds.
That guy was a big boy. He's hard to move, but they were running right at him. Like they didn't alter their offense at all. They were the majority of the run plays were. This is an inside running play.
Correct. That's all they ran. By the way, I would have liked to see Chris Johnson. A little bit of the
they never got to
outside, a little of the outside run game getting in there. They do not like doing the outside run game on this team, and they never have for the last ever since Mario's been here. I still can't really understand why you don't want to stretch a defense horizontally, but. I'm not an expert, so they need to do that once in a while, right? Against maybe a playoff opponent, ACC title game. Something.
They had 70-something plays on offense. They never got to Chris Johnson. They were talking after the game. There was a lot of things they didn't get to that were in their offensive game plan, just because of the way the game played out. So, like the point I'm trying to make is, it's not like they don't have things to work on. I mean. We talked about on defense how poorly the secondary guys, Daryl Porter, 58-1. I mean, that's not real good. OJ Frederick, 58. He's a true freshman. Damari Brown, 59-9. Those are not good grades. Those are three of your primary players in the secondary, and compared to Mish Powell, 89-5. Like there's
just so fans understand the reason for the grades. They did not get good cover grades. Did you look at the cover grades, Gary?
No, I know. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. So fans don't understand, because fans see Damari Brown breaking up 2 deep passes. They see OJ Frederick right on top of a guy when pass goes off his fingers, out of bounds, whatever. They don't see them getting beat on plays where the ball doesn't go to them. What Pro Football Focus does is they chart every single play they're in and give them a grade of plus, minus, or just neutral. And when they're giving them minuses, that's what gets them below 70. And a minus means they did not stick with their man close enough to where if the quarterback did his job, the ball was thrown to that player, it would have been completed, right? So that's concerning, But again, Lance Guidry, if you noticed, just left these guys one-on-one. It's hard to cover one-on-one over a period of time. It just is. It's a lot easier when you have help over the top and things like that. And Lance Guidry was basically daring Graham Mertz to throw balls 20 or more yards down the field. And Graham Mertz refused to, especially after he tried a couple of times and they were broken up or not on target, because that's not what Graham Mertz does. So again, fantastic game plan by Lance Guidry. Shannon Dawson, again, also a great game plan. But Shannon Dawson, again, it's hard to tell. Like, yeah, he had some nice formations. But if he was playing a stellar defense, like I still, the jury's still out on if it would have been as successful. I think Cam Ward is still a playmaker no matter what kind of defense.
Or gone against a better defensive coordinator because the Gators.
Their new coordinator is very well respected, but they just implemented a new defense, literally,
because they weren't ready.
Well, after last year, they implemented a new defense, and I don't think these guys knew what the hell was going on. Florida players did not put in the work on either side of the ball. Like that was obvious from the game, and Miami players did, and that's the difference. And that's really the selling point for Mario to this team is like, look at what Florida looked like. If you guys don't work hard for the next game, you're going to look like that. And it's embarrassing. What Florida looked like out there was flat out embarrassing.
Miami players after the game.
UF administrators should offer to give the money back to the Florida fans because they were cheated.
Well, after the game, Miami players were running around the area where all the recruits were. For Florida, saying, you don't want to go there. Come to the U. You better come to the U. I'm looking at Mish Powell, who's been here for about 2 cups of coffee, and he's yelling, "You got to come to the U. You got to come to the U." It was very funny. I don't think Florida thought it was very funny. They were pretty rattled. That really nice recruiting girl they have that everybody likes so much was really freaked out by what was going on there. She was trying to shoo. It was funny watching this, relatively petite young lady, like trying to shoo all these 300-pound football players away from their recruits. It was something else, folks. It really was. And I know a lot of you had the chance to be there on Saturday night, and it was a special night. And it gives us, a lot of positive feelings about what this season could be. Now they just got to stay grounded and keep working and keep looking to get better because I don't know when it'll be. I don't know whether it'll be Louisville, whether it'll be Florida State, whether it'll be the college football playoff, but they're going to run into better competition than what they faced last night, and they're going to need to be ready for it. And but they have what a great foundation to start with. So we've got all this coverage on the website for you guys to check out. I'm sure you probably check out some of it.
One more thought for you, Gary, before we have breakfast here. I know you like to sell subscriptions and you talk about how everything's great on our site, right? We have the greatest coverage in the world, which, I'm not going to say we don't.
I hope we have pretty good coverage.
But I think if you want to really get a bunch of subscribers that are Miami fans to join today, you should be promoting you should be promoting how On3 runs its network, because every Miami fan that joins CaneSport today and every day for the rest of the world, you can go on the Florida On3 site, right? What's it called? Swamp Gators Online, whatever the hell, Gators Online.
Gators Online.
You can go on their message boards, and On3 allows you to not post in their message board, but read their messages. And I think it's just as much fun to read the messages on the Florida message board this week and over the weekend as it was and will be to read the messages on our CaneSport message boards, because it wasn't that long ago that our message boards at Miami at CaneSport looked like those Florida boards. And boy, is it nice to have those tables turned a little bit, at least for now, and hopefully for the foreseeable future. I mean, those boards, meltdown, it doesn't even describe it. I mean, forget the serial bomb. That's a nuclear bomb that happened on that board.
So we've got all this coverage on the website. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. Take a look at the Pro Football Focus grades for yourself and see if you agree with them. There's a lot to think about there because of the great variety in grades, after a blowout victory. I mean, you're expecting everybody to get A+, but that was not the case. And I thought that was really interesting. And I'm going to be curious. I'm hoping later today we get to meet with Mario and we get to meet with the two coordinators. One of the things I'm going to be curious to find out is how their grades were. Was it a situation, when they did the grades, what did they think? And I want to see how that kind of matches up with what these external grades from Pro Football Focus look like. So that'll be one of my missions today when we go meet with Mario and the coordinators. But yeah, I encourage you, check out all these different layers of coverage. We really, I think, took a real comprehensive look, and we will continue to do so because I hope you don't get bored with Cam Ward, because we have got to cover this guy a lot. I mean, this is a program-changing, altering talent that we are graced with here on a one-year loaner for a lot of money. But if he keeps playing the way he played in Gainesville on Saturday, he'll be worth every single penny for what he'll mean to the university and the program. And by the way, did you notice the collective was already at 8:00 on Sunday morning sending out fundraising letters? I thought I got a kick out of that.
For $1. What are they asking for? $1? Wasn't it $1?
Yeah, I don't quite understand all that.
Ask for $100. Who asked for $1?
Usually, if you're doing that, you're doing it to build a database, but they already have a database. So I don't know. I don't like the university has all the database you can want. They have every name of every person who's ever bought a football ticket, or ever joined the Hurricane Club. But anyway, so Cam Ward is worth every bit of coverage that we're giving him and are going to keep giving him. And one of the things that's on the website today is a real comprehensive look at his game with a lot of film breakdown of individual plays. So make sure you check that out today as well, in addition to the grades.
Hey, are you changing your 10-2 prediction or not? You didn't say anything.
Am I?
Yeah, I talked about mine.
I mean, that would be silly. Like,
I was curious. I know fans are going to want to know.
There's nothing I would love more than for my 10-2 to be wrong on the right side of the equation. Like, I would love to watch them go 12-0. But no, I'm not going to flip flop. And after one game of the season, I mean, I do think that if they play like they played in Gainesville, they won't lose the game. I mean, if they show up with that type of focus, effort, and I think the quality will take care of itself. They absolutely can win every game, but there will be games where they don't play as well as they played on Saturday, where maybe the opposing defensive coordinator is a little bit better prepared than what Florida was on Saturday. And, it'll be tougher. There's no doubt about it. I
can't believe that you're predicting Miami's going to lose 2 games. You are such a downer, Ferman.
Why would I change with you? That wouldn't be right. You can't.
I said the same thing. I'm just kidding. I said the same thing. I'm just kidding. Listen, I said
I love
it was a joke.
I know it is, but when people make these recruiting predictions and then they change it
On one game, I know.
Well, when they know when they already know they're wrong. Like, I'm not doing that.
Everyone's
Like,
recruiting stuff, yeah.
like I would love for them to win 11, 12 games and have been wrong and said only 10. I've had plenty of years here where I've been saying 9 and it ended up being 7. So I'm all for it. But anyway, you got tons of stuff on the website. Now, in addition, obviously, recruiting is a big part of this. You beat Florida, a school that you go head to head with a lot of recruits for. There are a lot of recruiting implications. And so we're trying to cover that the best. A roundup with a lot of the recruits that were up there at the Swamp on Saturday. And we will be continuing to bring you that coverage and those stories here as we go forward this week. Take note that Elijah Melendez, the linebacker that was committed to Miami, has decommitted. It looks like he is going to end up going to Auburn. Now, we did get the chance to talk to DJ Pickett up there in Gainesville. He's the 5-star. He committed to LSU, and he's still committed to LSU. But he was there taking a really good look at the Miami Hurricanes as well as Florida last night. We don't think this one's over till it's over. So you can check out that story, see what DJ Pickett was saying, and what the prospects might be moving forward for him. We had a chance to go see Darian Coleman, the 2026 quarterback recruit who is beginning his junior season on Friday night. Azubi went out there to watch him. We got that story on the website. And we will have a steady flow of recruiting stuff coming your way. On a basketball note, Miami got a commitment over the weekend from 4-star shooting guard Matthew. Make sure you guys check that out as well if you're a basketball fan. If you're on YouTube right now, you like this show, you like this channel, hit your subscribe and your like buttons. It helps us with the algorithms at YouTube in growing our audience. If you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, please head on over to the website, join our community of fans. Your subscriptions allow us to do what we do every single day. Tomorrow night at 8, we will have episode number 2 of our CaneSport live show. Had a great first show last week. Encourage more guys to participate this week. If you want to come on that show, email us at canesport@yahoo.com. We will make sure that you get the link for the show. And you come into the studio and we bring you on the show. We prefer you use your webcam, but there were that didn't want their video image on, so they just came on audio only. That's fine too. But we'd like to see you guys, more guys, participate in our CaneSport live shows on Tuesday night. So that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. For Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time.